Hey everyone, my name is Anthony. In this video, I want to share my opinion on the state of Christianity here in America and why I think it looks the way it does today. And to understand what's happening here, we actually need to look back at Europe first. And I learned this from Mr. Mark Nickens in his book, A Survey of the History of Global Christianity. And Nickens explains that Europe didn't lose Christianity overnight or all at once. Around 1675, there were several major intellectual movements that started weakening people's confidence in the Bible and in the church. And one of the biggest was the Enlightenment era, where people began to trust human reason more than God's revelation. And then after that came the scientific naturalism around 1800s, where many people began believing the world could explain, or the world can be explained without a creator. And then after that, the church was exposed to higher criticism, which questioned the authorship and accuracy of the Bible. Now, Nickens shows how each of these movements chipped away at Europe's faith over time, its foundation. And those same ideas eventually made their way here to the United States. So the big question is Christianity declining in America today? And my answer is a bit more diplomatic, which I'm typically not a diplomatic person, but my answer is yes and no. Up until recently, churches seemed like they were shrinking. People were leaving and the culture seemed more hostile than ever. But recently I've noticed a revival. But before I get to that, I think what caused that hostility towards the church in America was the same reasons that Europe experienced hostility. And Mr. Mark Nickens talks about this a ton in A Survey of the History of Global Christianity. So we're dealing with many of the same pressures Europe faced. We've absorbed things like secular humanism, which puts the individual at the center of everything. We've adopted postmodernism thinking, where people believe there's no absolute truth. And the rise of technology has also played a huge role in all of this. It's really discipled people more consistently than churches would ever be able to do. And all of these are real attacks on Christianity, and they follow the same patterns and Mr. Nickens describes happening in Europe. But at the same time, I also see something different happening. Cultural Christianity is shrinking, and real Christianity is actually growing stronger. And many believers today are more serious about their faith. In fact, I read a research, I looked it up, a research by Barna Group, which shows that younger generations like Gen Z are spiritually open, and they're interested in the spirituality of things, and they're searching for answers, and churches that stick to the Bible. The second thing I saw are that churches that are sticking to the Bible, those churches are actually seeing growth. For instance, my church, we have 4 services on a Sunday with at least 600 people in every service. So it's crazy to see that. So in my opinion is this, that Christianity in America is not dying. It's actually being refined. And the decline that we're seeing is mostly the decline of cultural Christianity, the kind where people went to church just because it was expected. And what's left now is it might be a smaller group, but a stronger group. And when I look at Europe's history in Mr. Nickens' book, I see the same pattern repeat. Every time Christianity is pushed or challenged or doubted, there's that remnant, that true church that gets purified. And I believe that's what's happening here in America today. The culture may be shifting a little bit, and I think it's more so towards Christianity. I see a revival happening. So the culture is always shifting, but the gospel, I think, is still powerful, and the people are hungry than ever today.